Yeah, I got a little opening monologue and we'll get to it, I sometimes don't like these. Okay, I gotta go in 50. All right, and welcome to another Dooley Noted podcast. I, of course, am Pat Dooley, and what a great Super Bowl, huh? No, it wasn't that good. Unless you were a huge Bucs fan or a huge Tom Brady fan, it was a good one. And we'll talk about that as well as we got a couple of great guests. Zach Pillar, former Gator offensive lineman who was part of the national championship team and a Tennessee Titan for a while. We'll talk to him a little bit about the Super Bowl as well. Don't forget that our Another Duly Noted podcast is presented by ABC Fine Wine and Spirits and Titan MRI. We love them. We will get to three things. We will get to Leonardo's Millhopper Quick Picks. We had a lot of qualifiers on that. And we will get to the Gator of the Weekend, which I picked out very early in the weekend. And we got a little new feature. And, again, it's sponsorable, called The Headlines, which I'm going to start doing just a few headlines because I want to make sure we get everything out there. And that's the thing when you're doing this show. Sometimes, like you're coming in, you go, oh, something changed, something happened, something this. Sometimes you're doing the show and you don't know if anything's happened because things happen. All right, so let's talk about the Super Bowl. You know, obviously, to me, the story was the Bucs defense. They were unbelievable. They reminded me of an SEC defense, you know, in that they were just so fast and got to the ball with authority, and they've done this throughout the playoffs. And that was the difference in the game, you know, was the way – it wasn't Tom Brady. Tom Brady was fine. He did his job. I heard somebody say this during the week leading up to the game. They said, hey, you know Tom Brady doesn't have to play great, but, whoops, microphone fell out here. There it is. I got it back. Sorry. Tom Brady doesn't have to play great, but Patrick Mahomes does. And Patrick Mahomes played his butt off, but it wasn't enough because they couldn't block. And their reshuffling of that offensive line is really what hurt them. You know, losing Fisher on the left tackle, you move the right tackle over, you move a guy out there, then you move a guy in here. Sometimes that doesn't work for teams, and it was you know, the game itself was not a lot of fun for me because I wanted a great game. I didn't get a great game, but that's what we get. This is the year of COVID, and we're still in the year of COVID. That hasn't gone away. We're not a full year in, but we've had very few big events that were actually. I mean, think about it: Lakers blowout, you know, the World Series. I don't know. Pretty much, you knew who was going to win. The college football championship, that was boring. And now we get a boring Super Bowl. I really thought that Brady shouldn't have been the MVP. I thought it should have gone to the entire defense for Tampa Bay. I thought Todd Bowles should have gotten the MVP, but I don't think you're allowed to give it to an assistant coach. Because what a game plan he had, and as did Byron Leftwich, who I used to cover up in Jacksonville, an incredible job. Commercials, very good. There were some really good ones. The one that I liked the best was the Matthew McConaughey Doritos 3D barbecue or 3D chips one. That was good. The Bud Light commercial was great. One of my favorite ones as well. The Weekend, I knew two songs. Kelsey was singing along with all of them. She loved it. I thought some of that stuff. I mean, they had the guys with the masks on. I don't know if that was supposed to be like Eyes Wide Shut or Silence of the Lambs, or maybe it was, hey, you need to start wearing your masks out there. Come on, people. So it could have gone either way. It was kind of weird. You know, my favorite one will always be Tom Petty, and my second favorite one will always be Paul McCartney. Sorry, that's just the way I'm built. So we had that going on, and I thought the best line I heard on Twitter was, boy, the Bucs are doing great with the transfer portal, and that's kind of what it feels like. They got all these players to come play, including Brady and of course Antonio Bryant, Gronkowski. You know, all those were the guys who scored in Fournette. These are the guys who scored all their points. But it was unfortunately the game wasn't great. Now usually we would start out the show by talking also about Gator basketball, but as you know, game was postponed. We talked about that a little bit Friday. So no game Saturday, no game Wednesday. Two golden opportunities for Florida to improve its standing in the net rankings. By the way, I said Antonio Bryant, not it's Antonio Brown, as we all know. Everybody in America knows that except me. Because I don't know, was Antonio Bryant, is he the guy that was killing Florida from South Carolina, or was that Keyshawn? I don't know. I get names mixed up sometimes. But at any rate, so there's not a lot of basketball to talk about. We'll talk about a little bit some of the things that are going on with their net rankings as well. But right now, it's my great pleasure to bring on one of my favorite people in the world, a member of the National Championship Florida football team, a member of the Tennessee Titans for many years. In fact, I wrote it down, 87 games you played, Zach Pillar, for the Titans, man. That's a lot of games.
Yeah, it was good enough. I was hurt. Thanks for having me on, Pat. I appreciate it, buddy. I'll do anything for you. So hope you're doing well.
Yeah, doing really well, and we appreciate you being on. I didn't even know this. In '98, I think it was your last year at Florida, you were elected a captain?
I was elected a captain. Spurrier caught me. I can tell you a funny story. Spurrier caught me under the stadium, I think over the summer, and he said, all right, Zachy, my man, you're a captain now. He says, I want you to learn one word this summer, moderation. Still trying to learn it.
You're working on it still.
Yeah, still. No, I've learned it, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah. Right. Hey, well, when we were up in Nashville the last couple of times, we certainly couldn't go up this time. We stopped at the bar you had there. It was unbelievable. Both bars. In fact, there were two different ones. And I know you guys have been going through a lot between COVID and tornadoes. But where's the things stand now? Is everything getting back to normal for you, or at least closer to it?
Yeah, we have two bars. Had one for 10 years. My wife and I. My wife's the owner of them, and we've had one that will be open in 3 years in August. And the one in Germantown, which is by AAA baseball stadium, it got hit by a tornado in March, and we were closed from March to November. And we're reopened with COVID. A lot of restrictions in Davidson County, Nashville, with the crowds, and it was open and closed a lot this year, both of them. And we were fortunate enough, we paid all our employees throughout the whole ordeal, and we are reopened at both locations, and they just extended the hours to where you can stay up until midnight. So that's where we're at.
I can tell you, if you go to Nashville, I highly recommend it. In fact, first beer's on me if you go up there. Okay.
Yeah, it's good things. We're real proud of it. It's a organically grown business, and good wings, good brisket, good atmosphere, a lot of cool memorabilia from stuff I collected over the years in playing sports, and funny stuff. And so it's a good little spot, and we got a real good reputation, good service. So we're real proud of it.
Yeah, and every year when we go up there, every other year, Zach tells me at least one story that I can use with the quarterback clubs when I speak to him, because it's always a funny story.
Of course.
He's got a few of them. Well, what was it? Well, first of all, how did you get to Georgia Tech?
Well, I didn't start playing football till my sophomore year in high school, and I transferred from a 1A school to a 6A school for basketball. And when I was walking around the halls there, one of the hall monitors was like the running back coach. So they grabbed me and said, "You need to start playing football." And so that's what happened my sophomore year. First time I ever put on a uniform. I actually put my thigh pads where my knee pads were, and my knee pads where my thigh pads were supposed to go, and the guy next to me helped me out, and they put me at tight end. I realized real quick I did not want to catch the ball, because I guess that meant everybody was going to come hit me. I didn't want anything to do with that, so head coach said, "We're going to put you at tackle," and I said, "I thought that's what you do, coach." So he was like, "Oh man, we got a project here." So I ended up quitting twice. I walked off the field. My head coach, he grabbed me by my face mask, started tugging me around. I said, "Man, you don't have to grab it. You can have it." And the athletic director, he pulled me in his office and said, "Hey, do your parents have the money to go to college?" I said, "Probably not." He said, "You better get your butt back on the football field." And so he said, "I'll make sure nobody grabs you anymore." And so something clicked between my sophomore, junior, and then junior, senior, and I always wanted to go to Florida State, or Miami. I wanted to stay in state, and wasn't getting recruited by them. And I visited Syracuse, Texas, Clemson, and Georgia Tech with an unofficial to Auburn. And with the close proximity from my hometown of Tallahassee, I figured G-Tech. I thought they were giving away, degrees, like candy there. And then went to G-Tech. Just wasn't the right spot, wasn't the right fit for me. And I had been calling Florida all the time, talking to Jim Collins, the linebacker coach, and he was the recruiting coordinator, seeing if anything would happen. You guys got anything? And they never did. So they told me to walk on, and I was going to walk on at FSU because then I could live at my mom's house and save her some money. And I was flying to Miami. Miami recruited me afterwards, and so I was about to fly to Miami, and Spurrier called me out of the blue right when I was about to get on a flight and said they had a guy named Eric Johnson that he'd quit the team, an offensive lineman. He said, "We would like to take a look at you." So I didn't take that flight. I drove down to Gainesville with my mom and stepdad, and Spurrier was cool. He spent a lot of time with me, the fam, and ultimately offered a scholarship, which really changed my life, propelled me to where I was able to get to moving forward. I sat out that year. I played as a true freshman at Georgia Tech on the D line, and redshirted and learned how to play offensive, and I ended up at offensive tackle, and I played guard in the NFL, but it's crazy how life works out and how little Mr. Destiny. But Coach Spurrier he was always great to me. Loved playing for Coach Spurrier. Loved playing for the Gators. Loved that I graduated from University of Florida. Take a lot of pride in Gator Nation, and I follow them very closely, even up here in Nashville.
But yeah, you had the transfer portal before there was a transfer portal.
Yeah,
you invented the transfer portal.
I started the trend,
Well, it was, was it easy for you to fit in with the players that were already here who'd been recruited to Florida?
Everybody was great. I was kind of an in between, because I really became real good friends with the true freshmen. I guess the class of '95 that had rolled in, and a lot of those guys were redshirted. And I was class of '94, but I was sitting out that year, so got to know a lot of the younger guys, and then just worked my butt off. I realized coming from Georgia Tech to Florida, where I remember the first guy I met on my visit was Jeff Mitchell, who was the center, and I realized just then, talking to him for a couple minutes, that it was a different level, and it was a level that I wanted to get to. Didn't know how to get there yet, just hard work. And the expectation was extremely high there. And I wanted to be a part of that. And I was really excited. I was really excited to have the opportunity to play for the Gators. So I worked my butt off in the off season, and got an opportunity to start at right tackle, offensive tackle. I don't remember exactly who the first game was, maybe
Southwest Louisiana.
Southwest Louisiana, and it was very surreal for me. It was just an amazing experience, amazing environment. I can remember, just really looking at the crowd, looking at the the people. Even while I was blocking, I would just look around. I was really I felt like a fan, with really great seats, and to have the opportunity to have compete, and with the level of athletes that were on our team, on our side of the field, um, it's still exciting to even talk about right now. It was a great time of my life, and we ended up, taking it all the way to a national championship that year. That ended in the Sugar Bowl against FSU, and beating them really good, 52-20.
Yeah, that score kind of resonates. There's a lot of passwords in the Gator Nation that have 5220 in them. It's like Joe Smith 5220. I mean, they love that score more than anything. It's funny. That offensive line had 3 guys who played in the Super Bowl, because you, Mitchell, and Mo Collins all
Yeah.
played in Super Bowls.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that roster. I mean, there was a bunch of players that made it to the next level. I mean, there was a lot of talent. Even at FSU when we played them, obviously a lot of talent. They had the defensive ends, and
Right.
they had a lot of great players. Smart role. They had a lot of great players, but boy, we did too. And that was back in the in those heydays when Florida State, they were top 5 every year. Hopefully we'll get back to that. I mean, I think with Coach Mullen has changed the attitude down there, that nothing's given, that you got to earn it, and he likes to compete at everything. I think he's passionate. He's exciting to watch on Saturdays, and continues to recruit pretty well. And he's an extremely smart offensive coach. So if you play offense and are worth a darn in high school, University of Florida might be the place you want to be.
I've always wanted to ask you this, or anybody this, that was part of it. After you guys won the game and you celebrated on the field, you celebrated in the locker room, and then eventually you were unleashed on New Orleans. And I remember the next morning, they had to bring in some guys at like 8 in the morning or 7:30 in the morning, and everybody seemed a little bleary-eyed. So, I mean, what were those celebrations like that night?
It was crazy. You felt like, if you picture it, Disney World, like the mascots, when all the people are trying to get an autograph or a picture with Goofy or, Buzz Lightyear or Mickey Mouse. I mean, that's how you felt. I mean, the entire, what is it, Canal Street? Is that what it is? Bourbon Street? Whatever. The entire street was packed with Gators, and, a lot of beers and a lot of Lucky Dogs. And just running around. It was, I look back. It's something you can always hang your head on. It's something that gives you some sort of legacy in your life. I mean, I think ultimately we all want to leave a little legacy, leave a little something. We're on this earth for a real short period of time, and to be a part of something as special as that '96 team, if that's my legacy, if that's where I got to hang my hat, I'll be proud to do it. But no, it was great. I remember, we drove home maybe the next day, and then had the celebration, shortly thereafter in the stadium with all the fans. I mean, that stuff you just don't forget. I don't care how old you get, you start talking about it, you start getting excited, and you start thinking, oh man, has it been this long? I mean, what's happened? What has happened?
Yeah, believe me, I think about it every day. How old I'm getting.
Right.
Obviously, playing with the Titans for all those years, and you guys had experience going to the Super Bowl and everything. I'm wondering how much you watched last night, and were you blown away by the dominance of the line of scrimmages, both line of scrimmages by the Bucs?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely watched the game last night, and I guess Kansas City lost their 2 tackles. I know that Fisher cat blew his Achilles, I guess, just recently, and you got to adjust. I thought maybe they would try to run the ball just to establish something, and maybe extend some drives as far and getting in some second and third and shorts. I thought they had a little success early, but I grew up in St. Pete, so I was cheering for the Bucks a little bit. I mean, I don't really like Tom Brady, but now I like Tom Brady because he was with the Bucks. I didn't like him so much when he was with the Patriots. It was a good game. I mean, it was good to watch. I've been in that stadium as a fan, and I was in the old sombrero growing up as a kid, a fan. So I wish they had the old, Bucko Bruce uniforms with the, in the pumpkin orange. But they changed unis and times changed. But it's a good Super Bowl. I mean, if you were a Bucks fan.
Yeah, that would have been great if they had come out with the Bucko Bruce on the side of the helmets and
No
the
doubt.
orange jerseys. Here's how old I am. I actually saw Spurrier play for the Bucks. How bad is that? I mean, that's really old.
I get it. I remember going to. I don't know if they ever remember the Tampa Bay Rowdy games.
Oh yeah, they were great.
The Rowdies were way bigger than the Bucks.
They were huge.
Yeah, the Rowdies would sell out that stadium, but the Bucks couldn't sell it out. They were terrible. But no, we used to go to games as a little guy. I'd have a bag on my head because my dad did. It would say go Yucks. It would say go Yucks. So I remember
there was one game they were playing. I can't remember who they were playing. It might have been the Giants, and one team was 1-10, and one team was 0-11, and they called it the Reapus Bowl. They spelled super backwards, so it was a Reapus Bowl. I actually covered that game, and I'm like, why am I here?
Yeah, the Reapus, yeah, super bad. My O-line coach for the Titans, Mike Munchak, who is in the Hall of Fame, played for the Oilers for 12 years. He played at Tampa when the Bucks were terrible and Houston Oilers were terrible, and he said he walked by a kid holding a sign that said, "My dad actually told me this is a professional football game."
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, what did you, last thing for you before we let you go, what did you think about Tony Baselli not getting in again this year? I don't know I know that he had a shortened career because of injuries, but he was a dominant left tackle.
Yeah, the Hall of Fame is interesting, I guess, because I played against a lot of these guys or, competed against. It's weird because I put Hall of Fame allegedly in such a big, incredible, it's way up here. And, and I'm not taking anything away from anybody. I mean, that's number one. Everybody's great. I get it. Baselli, maybe with the shortened amount of time, when he played, he was dominant. I mean, even the Calvin Johnson, I thought that was a short career. John Lynch, I mean, I don't know. I mean, was he one of the greatest safeties of all time? I don't know. I mean, so there's guys. I mean, Brian Urlacher, I played against him. I know he was first ballot or got in, and even Ray Lewis. I mean, I used to hit Ray Lewis all the time, and obviously he's Hall of Fame, but I mean, they're sitting there like, dude, I thought he would melt my face when I hit him. He was supposed to be so great. But I mean, I would knock him on his butt and be like, dude, I weigh 320 pounds. You weigh 240. I'm going to knock the crap out of you. I mean, if I get my hands on you. So, to go up against all those guys and to try to tell stories, or not try to tell stories, but to tell stories. And, Warren Sapp, I used to block him, and he was a difference. Difference. He used to line up really wide when you played guard. He was, really fast. He'd get you to turn your hips, and then he could close on the quarterback. I played against a lot of the guys. I competed as hard as I could. I wasn't necessarily the most athletic, but I always played through the whistle, at the echo of the whistle, like Coach Spurrier learned a long time ago. Play to the echo of the whistle. So, Baselli, he'll get in. It's just a matter of he'll get in.
Who's the best player you played against that you had to block?
Yeah, I always tell people at defensive tackle, and some people may not have ever heard of him. Sapp is in there. Leroy Glover, he played defensive tackle for a long time, and he was about 6'2", and I'm 6'5". So, a lot of times leverage wins. And he was strong, stocky, powerful. And there was a defensive tackle named Sam Adams that played maybe like 14 years, and he was 400 pounds. So when you weighed 315, 320, you're giving up, a small person to him already. So there were a lot of great players. It's crazy that you've gotten to the age where you see, a lot of the people you competed against are going into the Hall of Fame, or, I never made it to a Pro Bowl or wasn't any, all-world football player, but I competed against the best, and I went up against the best, and I can't say that anybody really ever embarrassed me. So I guess that's what I take away. A long time ago, me and a teammate used to say, you're never satisfied that you made a great play. You were just relieved you didn't make a bad one. So, that's sort of the philosophy. I don't want to get anybody else, hurt on my team, because it's a grown man sport. The NFL is a lot different than college, but playing in the SEC definitely prepares you. It's a much different, but it was an honor to play there. It was an honor to play at University of Florida. It's an honor to have the answer because people ask you all the time, what do you do now? And to, have a couple businesses that people, enjoy, and you got an answer. You got to have an answer for what do you do now, because you get asked that quite a bit.
Yeah, give the names of your bars. Are they both neighbors, or?
Yeah, they're both called Neighbors.
Yeah.
One in Germantown, one in Sylvan Park. One's a little divey. Sylvan Park's a little divey bar, and one in Germantown, right by a AAA baseball stadium, the Nashville Sounds. Like I said, if anybody's ever in Nashville, go to Neighbors. You may see me.
I highly recommend it.
Or a cheeseburger or something like that.
We had one of your old teammates on last week, James Bates. I know you and him are pretty good buddies.
Yeah, old Batesy. Yeah, he's like an artist now or something like that. I know sideline reporting. No, I have a shirt of him. It says head ball coach. It's got Spurrier on it. I wear that on my Gator games around here. So
there you go.
We're actually moving to. I'm excited because this summer getting to move to Destin, Florida.
Really?
My daughter graduated. She's graduating high school, and she got a basketball scholarship to University of West Florida in Pensacola. So she'll be hooping there, and we bought a house in Destin, and we're gonna move down there. We're still gonna own the bars, but it'll be awesome because I'll get a chance to maybe go to a Gator game in Gainesville. I've only been to I've been to 2 since I left school. So 2 in over 20 years. I would go to the Vanderbilt games here, but I'm excited to have a chance and to kind of maybe get back in the groove of being around some Gators. There's too many Tennessee Vols around here. I mean, they're
not happy up there anyway.
They're a different breed. It's fun to be up here now because their a program is so off kilter. But they always wait till next year. I'm like, all right, it's been 20 years.
Zach, it's always a great pleasure having you on, talking to you, and you're going to love Destin. I've been there every year to speak to that club, and I just love it out there. So you're going to be very happy, and now I'll be able to come visit when I'm out there instead of when I'm in Nashville. So that'll be.
You got it, man. You got it. Well, I appreciate you having me on, and anytime, Zach. Go Gators, and we'll talk to you soon, right, Pat?
Thanks, Zach. Appreciate it, buddy. Zach
Take
Pillar, one of the great Gator offensive linemen of all time, I would tell you that. And I'll tell you part of the reason why when we come back. But first, we have to take a break. We still have to get to all the other things. And Tony Barnhart, Mr. College Football, is going to join us right after we take this break.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
You can get your favorite alcoholic brands from ABC Fine Wine and Spirits delivered right to your door. ABC Delivers is available in Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, and all of the Southeast Florida. Earn ABC points for coupons and free bottles through abcdelivers.com. It's powered by FedEx Same Day City, and you're going to love the price. Free with a $50 purchase for the first 7 miles. So wine, spirits, beer, and everything you need to celebrate. Get it delivered. Shop abcdelivers.com. Thanks so much to our title sponsors, ABC Fine Wine and Spirits and Titan MRI, and to our pick sponsor, Leonardo's of Millhopper. You can find us live on Facebook and YouTube, or listen at your leisure on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or wherever you find all your favorite podcasts. I'm excited to continue this podcast and to have your company on board as a sponsor. If you're interested in being part of the show, email me at patrickdooley54@gmail.com or give me a call, 352-317-3444. All right, welcome back to another Duly Noted podcast, and it's a great pleasure to bring in Mr. College Football, the great Tony Barnhart, who we always love having on different podcasts and radio shows, and love reading his stuff as well. He's really one of the guys that got me fired up about writing about college football, because he knows it better than anybody else. How are you? How have you been, Tony?
I've been well, Patrick. Everything is rocking along. Football season is over. I'm working on a little book project here, trying to finish up. And I got to be honest, I haven't spent a whole lot of time looking at basketball, but I will once the tournament starts. Hopefully, the tournament gets underway and all that stuff. So, but we're doing fine.
Yeah, it is. When we think about it, I think one day we'll sit and think back to this 2010 or 20 season and go, I still can't believe we played it. I can't believe that it happened and that they got through it.
Pat, it is really, and I've said this in a lot of different venues, what particularly, the SEC, the league that we cover, what they did, we're not going to fully appreciate what they did till many years down the road. I mean, the fact that they scheduled 70 games, 71 games if you count the SEC championship game. So they played 69 of those games. Mm-hmm. Got that many in because they had a plan and they were determined to do it. And to do that, to play 69 out of 71, to go on and win the national championship, and it is one of the great accomplishments that I've ever seen, and I've been doing this 45 years.
And I think one thing that the COVID pandemic has made happen, and it doesn't mean it wouldn't have happened anyway, are that the greats have, whether it was the Lakers with LeBron, whether it was Alabama with Nick Saban, now it's Brady. It's like the greats, just the cream rises to the top, and you're not going to see. I got a feeling you better get ready for Gonzaga and Baylor in the final game. I mean, it feels like everybody's just going to keep elevating their games instead of falling back.
Yep. And you're right. The great ones do elevate their game. The great ones do. Other than Nick Saban got the virus, and he had another false positive. But other than that, did you hear anything coming out of Alabama about having to postpone games because of a problem in Alabama? So I think you have to give them a whole lot of credit for handling it so well. And, oh, by the way, maybe the best offense you've ever seen played for Alabama this year.
Yeah, and then he just went out and signed the best recruiting class, according to.
Yeah, there is that, yeah.
Yeah. Although I will say this, that 210 class that Urban Meyer signed, which is a miracle that nobody even talks about, how he quit and then came back, and we all were saying, well, their recruiting is going to be shot. They don't know if this guy's going to stick around. Ends up being the number one class, Turns out it was vastly overrated. It wasn't that good of a class. We went through it the other day on the radio, and we're like, well, this guy never played. This guy transferred. This guy got in trouble. There's two guys from that class that made all SEC each once, and that was Matt Elam and Sharif Floyd. So you never know. But with Alabama, you almost feel like they're going to be back again for the next 3 years.
Well, I will say this: all the experts say this is a great class, and it may prove out to be. But this class that just finished up at Alabama with Devontae Smith, and Najee Harris, and those guys, that's a pretty strong. But you think about it is, Pat, you never know about recruiting. That's why when we say, well, we're not going to know till several years down the road whether or not any of this is true. Sometimes it's true, sometimes it's not.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to wait and see. Obviously, over on this side, we'll see what happens with Florida and Georgia again. And we all know what a big win that was for Florida in Jacksonville this year, or this past year. But I think most people are going to pick Georgia again to win the East. And I don't think there are very many people that are going to pick Florida, even though Florida, again, killed it in the transfer portal, but Georgia's recruiting continues to elevate them.
Yeah, and you know what, Pat? It's going to come down to quarterback play. Florida had a better quarterback than Georgia did. Florida had a better team than Georgia did this year and deserved to win the game. Now, Georgia feels good about themselves because they feel like they finally found a quarterback, got another 5-star quarterback coming in. Who knows how that's going to work. But Georgia was a pretty good team by the end of the year. So that's what it's going to be based on. And you're absolutely right. It'll be the recruiting rankings and stuff like that. But once the teams start playing, we'll figure it out. And I'm just hoping we can go back to Jacksonville this year, Coach.
Yeah, exactly. That was kind of weird to watch that game on television in my office. But what was the point of going? That was the problem all year.
I can do a Zoom call. I could do a Zoom postseason call with Dan Mullen and Kirby Smart. I can do that from right here.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
you weren't gaining anything by being there. But I will tell you a funny story. I've been going down there forever with 3 of my boys, Turney brothers. I told them, guys, I'm not going. There's a lot going on. I need to be here instead of there. They went anyway. They didn't go to the game. They just went anyway. And they ate at all of our restaurants that we like to eat out in Ponte Vedra. And they had an absolute blast. They'd send me pictures by me. They took a little picture and put it in the chair where I was supposed to be. So it was crazy. It was crazy.
And that's one thing I don't.
Only college football, yeah.
That I don't think a lot of people understand, because every time we get near the contract, Florida and Georgia use for leverage, they go, well, we could leave. We don't have to play it here. And I keep telling them, you don't know how many people this is their bowl game. It's their bowl game at a higher standard because Ponte Vedra is amazing. St. Simon's Island is amazing. And that's where all these people are staying, and they love this weekend.
Yes, it is. And if you haven't done it a lot, you don't appreciate that. So this sort of falls along generational lines, Pat, is that the younger generation, let's just have it in Athens and Gainesville, be done with it. But they haven't invested in much in the Florida-Georgia game as much as we have. So, and oh, by the way, you know who's in charge of the Florida-Georgia game for the Gator Bowl Association now?
I do know.
Only Greg McGarity. I think Greg McGarity is going to have some. He'll have a reason to want to keep that game in Jacksonville.
Yeah, and he of course knows it from both sides. Which is another factor there as well. I think we're going to have Greg on in a couple weeks. But him kind of getting pushed out there. I don't know if he got pushed out or he was ready to retire, but he clearly wasn't ready to quit working. Was this just kind of one of those internal coups, or?
No, it really was. I mean, Greg and I are really close. He and I graduated on the same day with the same degree at the University of Georgia. Of course, he went on to do something meaningful with his degree.
Was that degree in tennis?
Greg, yeah. Greg had actually been planning on his retirement for several years. and the president, Jerry Moorhead, said, hey, we really need you to stick around. And then COVID hit, and he said, we really need you to stick around. So he was going to retire last year before COVID hit, because he'd had, 19 years under Jeremy Foley at Florida, back here at Georgia, had spent a bunch of time. He was ready for the next challenge, and he and his wife bought a place down in Ponte Vedra. And so I knew it was coming. He just said, hey, I couldn't leave in the middle of COVID. So as soon as we got squared away, then I knew I was going to go.
He still looks like he's like 32 or 33. I mean, he's a young-looking guy.
He is a young-looking guy. Keeps himself
Unlike
fit.
us.
Unlike us, indeed. Unlike us, who show every day of our age. Yes.
Well, let me ask you this before we get out of here, because we've asked a lot of people. We've had a lot of different great guests on, Reese Davis, people like that, about college football and where it's going from here. Obviously, we couldn't get people in the stands. We don't know where we'll be in September. We hope you'll be able to get bigger crowds. I don't know if we'll see packed stadiums. I mean, do you think at some point you're going to see a packed stadium in the SEC? Would it have to be Alabama, LSU to get it like that? But Alabama, New Mexico State may not quite do it.
Yeah, I wrote a column last week that said, the thing that concerns me, even if we get, let's say this summer we get some form of the all clear from Dr. Anthony Fauci, and okay, you can go. I just don't know that we're going to be mentally ready to put 80, 90,000 people in a stadium. There's going to be a certain psychological component to this. Although I put a tweet out there, I said, if you could go tomorrow, would you be a part of a 85,000 seat stadium? And half the people went, no way, and the other half went, give me the ticket, I'll be there. Yeah. So I think it's going to be mental. And the stuff that I've seen Greg Sankey, the commissioners, say about this, we have no way of knowing. How quickly are we going to get the vaccine done? Are we still lagging behind when we get to August? So, hey, Pat, I'm worried about my charity golf tournament, man. I know you do one as well. I don't know if I've got my charity golf tournament in May, and I'm a little concerned about that.
Hey, ours is in May too. We'll be dueling, I guess, but yeah, we had a hard decision to make, and we're a little bit nervous because we know we're not going to get the same kind of response from people because they're hurting. Restaurants and everything like that, and not only that, but coming out there and doing something like that and being there for 5 hours and serving food, be a lot of mass that day.
Well, the one thing, Pat, going back to the season, is that at least at this point, we kind of know what we're dealing with for the most part. We learned a lot. Back in March when we didn't know anything, it was like, hey, we don't know, whatever. And so we're going to know a lot more. But my hope is that I don't get the sense now we can really fill stadiums, but I think we'll be able to put more. But we'll see. There's so many variables.
Yeah, last thing for you, Tony, and we appreciate you being on. Obviously, a lot of people looking at college football and they're going, it's the same teams over and over again. Mm-hmm. But there's no easy solution. And then somebody will say 18 playoff. That's the answer. That'll solve everything. I don't know what the solution is, and I keep telling people you won't see an 18 playoff until this contract runs out. They're committed to this.
I think you're right. But when we do get to the end of this contract, 2025, something like that, we got a big decision to make because there's a couple of things going on. I've been a 14 playoff guy from the jump, but I'm now willing to have a conversation about 8. And it's not about making it more competitive. There are two things that are going on in college football right now that concerns me. One is having the players engaged at the end of the year. And if you're not in the playoff, there's more and more guys who are simply not engaged. They're either going to leave and not be a part of the bowl. We just have a lot of guys that are opting out at the end of the year when it's over. That's a concern. With more teams involved in the playoff, you have more players who are invested in it. Number two, we looked at here's the stat that keeps jumping off the page at me. We've had 7 years of the college football playoff. That's 28 playoff slots that have been awarded in 7 years. 22 of those 28 playoff slots have gone to 5 schools.
Yep.
The 4 that played this year and Oklahoma. And that's it, okay? Nobody else has gotten more. And to have all of that concentrated into one area, that and recruiting, the fact that the same usual suspects are in the top 5, I just think it's just the fact that fewer players have the opportunity to play in the playoff. And I think that's something we're going to have to address.
Tony, it's always a pleasure. As you and I have talked about before, I can't wait to see you again one day, hopefully at a press box somewhere or just having a beer somewhere. But and maybe SEC Media Days, who knows? So where we'll be by then.
Cross your fingers. We're moving it back to lovely Hoover, Alabama. Let's see how that turns out.
The town that sidewalks forgot, as I call it. But, hey, thanks so much for joining us, Tony. I really appreciate it, buddy.
All right, Pat, you take care of yourself.
All right, Mr. College Football, Tony Barnhart, what a pleasure to have him on. Before we get our next break, we need to do 3 things. And, again, we're looking for a new sponsor for 3 things. If you want to get involved, you know my number, 352-317-3444. I can take these off now. And, yeah, give me a call. We can work out something. Believe me. I think you want to be a sponsor of 3 things. 3 things is the lifeblood of this show, right? All right, maybe not, but it's close. All right, 3 things. Number 1, when I saw the guy running out on the field at the Super Bowl, the first thing that came to my mind was, oh my gosh, that was a bet. That was a prop bet. People, would there be somebody run on the field? You know, and of course they went away from it. But the good thing about this is the world we live in now. Everybody in the press box and in the stands had their phones, and they're following the guy. He makes a great spin move. He slid when he was going to get hit, so he must have been a quarterback. But the point is, you can bet on just about anything. And my wife got mad at me. She goes, it's ridiculous how people are betting. They're betting on this coin toss. They're betting on this. I'm like, nobody's making them, you know. So somebody made money. But then she made a good point. If you bet a lot of money that there would be somebody running on the field, that might have been you running on the field. Or your friend or a buddy that you paid $1,000 to. Hey, I bet $10,000 on this, run on the field. There's so much going on with those things that kind of drives me nuts, you know, in terms of the orange or blue Gatorade or whatever they're going to do. Or not only that, but what was the other bet that we talked, whether it be a 2-point conversion? Those are fine. But when I saw that guy run on the field, I go, I wonder what happened there. Now, he did bond out of jail for only $500. So if he got $1,000 for doing it, and the other guy made $10,000, everybody's happy. At that point, the game was over anyway. Although I don't think Patrick Mahomes was very happy about it. I did appreciate Patrick Mahomes playing injured that whole 4th quarter, maybe the whole second half, and that guy's got guts. He's going to win more Super Bowls. The thing is, though, he's not going to catch Brady now. If he had won that, it's 6-2. Brady's near the end. He's just getting started, still young. Now it's 7-1. 7-1's hard. It's like Nicholas and Tiger, you know, 18-14, you know, with grand slams. So we'll see. All right, that's number 1. Number 2. We just keep getting these postponements in basketball. As you know, Florida postponed again Wednesday. It was an opportunity for them to pick up some major net ranking points if they could have won the game against Tennessee, and we saw what they did to them here, although it certainly wouldn't have been the same deal. But we're seeing it over and over again. Baylor shut down 2 games. Michigan, which has been out 2 weeks, extended their time off. The Louisville coach, Chris Mack, has COVID right now. It is harder to keep this contained in basketball. There's a part of me that would be okay with everybody just saying, hey, we're shutting it down. We're going to shut it down because we've got to have the tournament. If we don't have the NCAA tournament, even a weird version of it where a team was playing and their record was 11-4 and they're playing in the in the second round, you've got to have it. You've got to have the TV revenue and you've got to have the sponsor revenue. It's just vital. or you're going to have to see other sports go away. If they go 2 years without it, other sports are going to go away. Sports, whether it's, wrestling in some places, and a bunch of them have gone away already, but it's going to get worse. They got to have the tournament. So whatever you need to do to have that tournament, make it happen. No, certainly don't jeopardize the safety of people, but maybe if you bubble them up for a month and let them come back, forget about the conference tournament, bubble them up. That's my theory. I like it. Finally, it feels like, and this is sad, it feels like every time I do three things, we talk about somebody who's passed away, and it makes me sad. And the latest one was a shocker to me. Pedro Gomez, I think he was 58 years old, and worked for ESPN, baseball writer. And the story I have to share about him is the story to tell you a lot about him. I'd never met him. We were at the Urban Meyer Sugar Bowl, where they played Cincinnati. Of course, Urban had quit, then all of a sudden came back. We all know that story. But and I'd never met Pedro Gomez, but he was friends with a guy who had been my boss. And so all of a sudden he came up to me. He says, "Hey, you're Pat Dooley." "Yeah, Pedro Gomez." Yeah, I know you. I see you on TV all the time. Does baseball. He says, "Yeah, they sent me down here. They're really all over the story, and they want to help." And we talked for about 15 minutes. And finally, at the end of it, I said to somebody, I said, "Yeah, what's the deal here? What is Pedro Gomez trying to get out of me? What does he want?" Because he's got to want something to have been that nice and say so many nice things about me. And the guy said, "That's just who Pedro Gomez is. He couldn't care less about you giving him information or anything like that. He's just the nicest guy in the world." And sudden death, we don't know what it is yet. I don't know what it is yet. That one stung a lot. There just seems like it's more and more pain. Really been rough. It seems like obviously for the last year, with heroes dying left and right, been rough. Pedro, may you rest in peace. We'll take a break. When we come back, Leonardo's Millhopper Quick Picks will tell you who were the qualifiers. A lot of them. Took me a long time to get through this. And the Gator of the weekend. We'll give you a few headlines as well. We're running out of time, but we'll get to those. You're watching or listening to another Dooley Noted podcast. This is Pat Dooley, and I want to tell you about my friends at the Gainesville Quarterback Club. I'm a member, and you should be too. It's the oldest Gator booster club in the world and a great place to meet new friends, network with prominent business people, and hear a great collection of speakers, including Dan Mullen, throughout the football season. Go ahead and give John Stevens a call at 352-222-8516 or sign up on the website, quarterbackclub.org. You can get your favorite alcoholic brands from ABC Fine Wine and Spirits delivered right to your door. ABC Delivers is available in Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, and all of the Southeast Florida. Earn ABC points for coupons and free bottles through abcdelivers.com. It's powered by FedEx Same Day City, and you're going to love the price. Free with a $50 purchase for the first 7 miles. So wine, spirits, beer, and everything you need to celebrate. Get it delivered. Shop abcdelivers.com.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Okay, welcome back to another Dooley Noted podcast. We'll wrap it up with two of our favorite things. We always do these at the end of the show, and we can put them at the beginning of the show. Doesn't matter to me. Leonardo's at Millhopper Quick Picks. Interesting, none of you took the over. We had a ton of people get in this contest. Nobody took the over on 5 touchdown passes. I'm sorry, nobody took the under. Everybody took the over. It was an under because there was only 3 in the game. So everybody got 1 wrong, okay? So nobody took that. You had to get the winner right, which the Bucks obviously covered, and who scored last, and then no 2-point conversions. And I wonder if the Chiefs had scored there at the end when Devin White, who I would have voted if I was in the media and I had a vote, and usually I did have one when I was covering the game, I would have voted for Devin White over Tom Brady, because to me somebody from the defense needed to win that. That's what won the game. But anyway, I digress. So 5 of you though did get 3 right, and you are qualified for our picks contest. Our picks contest. We will do the drawing next Friday. Okay, next Friday, because I want to get some more people with opportunities. And one reason is with the Gators taking off for basketball for 2 straight weeks, we've struggled with that a little bit. Hopefully they'll be back playing next Saturday, and we'll be able to do a contest then. But again, by then we'll have softball starting, and then the following week we'll have baseball, and so we'll have plenty of things to be able to put out there. And appreciate everybody for emailing me with their contest entries. The 5 qualifiers who made it through, and they'll be in the hopper. Bill Kretzman, who always gets in first for our golf tournament, always pays first. Kyle Champeau, Dwayne Searle, George Luttrell, and Bob Julian. I think some of those guys were in the last drawing too. The one that we did, a month ago, that we had all that great stuff. You'll get some great prizes if you get in. So we'll have another one on Friday for Friday's show. Not only that, but we'll have Laura Rutledge on, as well as Robbie Ander. It's Beauty and the Beast. Well, it's actually Beauty when Laura's on, and then the Beast, and Robbie's a beast. So we're both beasts. But we can't wait to have her on. She's such a good friend and such a good person. So that is the Leonardo's Millhopper Quick Picks qualifiers, and then we'll get on another one on Friday. Yeah, I'm sorry, I lost my brain cells there. A couple quick headlines, and again, this is a feature we're going to try to do, but we've kind of run out of time. I mentioned the Hall of Fame. Peyton Manning getting in was a no-brainer. We knew that was going to happen. Woodson getting in, I think everybody knew. The Drew Pearson getting in with the Old Timers Committee, thank goodness. Although, man, he raised it. It reminded me of when Wilbur Marshall raised a stink because he didn't get in the Ring of Honor in the first selections, and the next year they made up like a rule to get him in. Not that he shouldn't be in. He should be in. He should have been one of the first people they considered, but they have these kind of weird rules. Don't even get me started on the Ring of Honor. We could do a whole show on the Ring of Honor. Maybe we will one day. We'll just talk about who should be in the Ring of Honor. But Drew Pearson getting in was great. I don't know if you saw the plane that Manning took. I guess it was Jim Irsay's private jet. Wow. That was not a little jet. That was like 5 seats across, luxury seating. And I think it was just the 2 of them, him and his little boy. Maybe there were some other people there. That would have been a fun trip to be on. All right, so also, story that you probably don't know about, or maybe you do. Maybe you follow it that close. But Drake lost a game. The Drake, that was their first loss, so now there's only the 2 unbeatens, Gonzaga and Baylor. Also, the SEC announced $637 million, which is unbelievable. They still are able to do that. It actually went up 6.7 million. COVID? What COVID? Are you kidding me? How does it? But it's complicated why it does, because a lot of that is revenue from previous that gets counted now. I think. I may even be wrong about that. 637 million though. Think about that. Goes out to SEC schools. You wonder why Vanderbilt don't want to leave the SEC? And also, one other thing, I did a top 25, the top 25 Gators softball players of all time, and you can find it on Twitter. Give it a look. It's pretty cool as we get ready to start the 25th season of Florida softball. Starts on Saturday when they go down to USF and play some games down there. And hopefully we'll get Tim Moulton on here sometime soon as well. So those are some of the top headlines we have to still get to Gator of the Week, and not Gator of the Week, Gator of the Weekend, sponsored by Adams Rib Company. We appreciate Adams so much for being a sponsor of this, and I may go get some Adams Rib on the way home today. So, Adams Rib Company, Gator of the weekend is Talisha Diggs. Who's Talisha Diggs? Well, unless you follow track and field, you don't know about her. She is another one of the amazing athletes. Mouse Holloway just keeps recruiting and bringing in these great athletes. At the South Carolina Invitational, she became is now ranked in the top 10 in Florida history in both the 200 and 400. Ran a 52.34, which is the 6th fastest time in the world right now. It's just amazing how, and they had a bunch of people do amazing things up there. But Talisha Diggs is our Gator of the weekend, and proud of her. I'm sure Mouse is proud of her as well. All right, don't forget, Friday's show will be a great one with Laura Rutledge, and of course Robbie Andrew will be joining us as well. We're still working on guests for next. Greg Sankey's going to come on at some point. We don't know when, and maybe we can get him next week, and we'll have a lot of questions to ask him, and most of them about the SEC basketball tournament. I'm curious to get his take on that. I think we've covered it all. Have we covered it all? Zach Pillar and Tony Barnhart, Mr. College Football, we appreciate you guys so much. What a great job they did. And we just keep the guests coming, man. Boom, 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 boom. We're not going to back down. We won't back down. So I think we're ready to get out of here. Thanks to Evan. Thanks to Freddie. And until next time, I am Pat Dooley. I am deep. I'm way back. And I am out of here.